Dr. Majed, thank you so much for talking to us. This is a very tense time for your country. Give us a sense of what is happening in this moment as we look at nearly 2 full weeks of conflict that has not only engulfed the region, but also your country.
You know, we've been warning since 2023 and the breakout of this escalation in the region that escalation left unchecked will result in a regional war. And what we have right now is, for all intents and purposes, a regional war. I mean, you're talking about Iran targeting 7 countries in the past 2 weeks. We were talking about a level of destruction to infrastructure, to civilian facilities in the region that is also very serious. And again, left unchecked, this will mean catastrophic results for the region and beyond. Just a few moments ago, you heard probably the alarms going on your phones with the alerts of an attack happening, and we just got the all clear minutes ago. This is now a daily occurrence. It happens a number of times a day. I would have never expected for my daughters to live in a situation where the missiles would be overhead almost constantly throughout the day, and that we would fear for the safety of our families as a result.
Well, that's a really important point. In the time that we've been here, we've had alarms go off on our phone. We've heard the sound of loud bangs of missile intercepts. I know Doha quite well. It is a prosperous place. It is a place where many families from around the world choose to live their lives. Has that been shattered by this?
I pride myself, and we pride ourselves on the fact that you go about your life in Doha today almost normally. People are in the streets. They're going about their daily lives, and that would not be possible if it wasn't for the people in our military who have done a tremendous job in thwarting all of these attacks against our country. We've had more than 150 missiles thrown at us from the Iranian side. Most of them were intercepted, the extreme majority of them without making any damage to our facilities or injuries to our people. We had very minimal injuries in Qatar, thankfully, up to this point, because of the work that has been done through our military, which we must applaud their level of preparedness and readiness for these attacks. But that said, when we are awakened at 4 a.m. by the alerts going on our phones, when our kids are crying as they anticipate, and hear the loud bangs that are coming in, this is not a situation that we are used to. The Gulf was always an oasis of stability in a very turbulent neighborhood. And that reality right now is in question because of the current escalation. Of course, we hope that this escalation ends very soon. We hope that there is a return to diplomacy. And we have said very clearly that the Iranians have made these unprovoked attacks on our countries that have helped through the mediation process, countries that have stood up and said that their lands will not be used against any of its neighbors. But regardless of that, we were attacked. Our civilian infrastructure were attacked. Our people were put in harm's way. And these attacks persist without any notion of an end to them. Although it is very clear that we are not part of this war. We were dragged into this war by the Iranian decision to target the whole region.
Qatar, like many countries across the Gulf, has been attacked by Iran. Will Qatar attack Iran?
Qatar is a peaceful country, and we have always been very clear. We will never be a threat to any of our neighbors. We are a country that has, it's known internationally for being a peacemaker, a peace facilitator. When His Highness the Emir was asked, how would you describe Qatar in 2022, he said, energy provider and peace facilitator. We are not a country that's going to attack anybody, but we are also a country that knows how to defend itself, that has proven its ability to defend itself, and we will continue to deter these attacks, and we will do everything that is possible to make sure that our country is not put in harm's way like this, using all means, military or diplomatic. And of course, we would love to see this region without any war. We would love to see everybody sitting down on the negotiation table and finding solutions peacefully. But if it is war that the other party wants, if we have attacks coming into our country, we will defend ourselves.
How long can Qatar sustain this for? Missile defenses are finite. Can Qatar continue to live like this for weeks, possibly months?
Our military has taken all the contingencies possible and made sure that in every eventuality there's a scenario to deal with it. And up to this point, we have said very clearly our reserves are ample. We are able to continue defending our country. And you have seen, there was absolutely no reduction in the way that we defend ourselves from the projectiles coming in and the missiles coming in. We are able, we have the plans for it, we have the system for it, and we have the readiness for it. But obviously, war is not something you can live with as a region for forever. We need an end to this. We need an end to this as soon as possible. The effect is not only when it comes to hard security and our, the missiles coming into our country. We're talking here also about the effect on our energy production, the effect on our industrial output. Qatar produces 20% of the international LNG supply. We had to exercise force majeure and we stopped production after the facilities in Ras Laffan were targeted, and they continue to be targeted, by the way, by Iranian missiles. The same is for our industrial complex in Said. Qatar produces around 10% of international urea supply, around 30% of helium supply. All of these numbers are very important for international economy today. The effects of a prolonged conflict in this region will have a profound impact on industry, on energy bills of individuals all around the world, but also on aviation. 350 million passengers go through just 3 airports in our region, including Hamad International Airport. So in all of these fields, with logistics, with shipping and cargo, all of them will be affected strategically if this continues. Right now, the effects are being dealt with. We are taking, as I said, all the contingencies possible, all the precautions possible, and working with our clients and working with our trading partners to make sure that this does not affect them strategically. But obviously, this cannot go on forever.
Qatar has seen at one point a main LNG plant go offline. It's obviously back online. But when you consider the fact that Qatar has seen its energy infrastructure attacked, it's seen its airspaces severely impacted, shipments of Qatari energy through the Strait of Hormuz has been badly impacted. This has hugely impacted your economy. How do you move forward from this?
Well, first of all, let me say it very clearly. We remain committed to our trading partners. We remain committed to our clients. We have proven throughout our history that we will never miss a shipment as long as we are able to deliver that shipment. The only reason for what is happening right now is the fact that this war has included targeting our facilities in Ras Laffan and the facilities in Said when it comes to other products. We are, of course, our energy sector, including Qatar Energy, the biggest LNG producer in the world today, is working around the clock to make sure that we are working around this issue. But the bedrock of the situation is, as long as there is a war that includes missiles coming into our country, missiles affecting our facilities and attacking our facilities, the priority for us is the safety of the people who work in these facilities, the safety of the people of Qatar from any major threat. And we've seen, in the region, in other countries where these facilities, when they were operational and they were targeted, the level of impact on the industry, but also the human cost of these attacks was increased, and we are not ready to put anybody in harm's way for economic gain. And therefore, we've taken a very clear decision on this. The priority right now is in protecting our sovereignty, protecting our people and the residents, including people from 140 nationalities who choose to make Qatar home, protecting them from attacks, and then, of course, looking towards how we can solve the economic question behind this war.
There's a huge diplomatic component here. Qatar has long been one of the region's key negotiators, including with Iran. Is there a diplomatic path in front of us?
What we learned in our history of doing mediations and peace facilitation is that there is always a chance for mediation, and that all conflicts end on a negotiation table. Total annihilation is not part of human history now. It was at one point. It should never come back again. Total annihilation is not possible when you're talking here about a country with 90 million people, like Iran, with a proud history. The people in Iran right now and the people in this side of the Gulf are suffering from the same escalation that is taking place. Civilians, people who have nothing to do with these wars, should not be part of those who are paying the cost for war. And therefore, the only way out of this is a diplomatic way. And doing that would entail, of course, first of all, stopping the attacks on our countries. And we've said it very clearly. For us to play a role, for anybody in the region to play a role, the first thing that needs to happen is for the Iranians to stop attacking countries in an unprovoked way that have nothing to do with the escalation between them and the United States and Israel. But right now, our focus is in protecting our sovereignty, is in protecting our people, but we always maintain the same position, which is that this conflict will only end on a negotiation table. Every conflict in the world will only end on a negotiation table, and the sooner we get to the negotiating table, the better it is for the people of the region and international peace and security.
Your country is very close to the US. We know the Emir has spoken directly with President Trump. Is there any negotiation happening in this moment at all?
We are not aware, of course, of any such endeavors, but we continue to monitor the situation and to remain in close contacts with all players in the region and beyond. The coordination between us is very high. We attended the summit of Arab, regional and European countries yesterday. We had a ministerial Arab meeting a couple of days ago, and we're continuing this like daily talks. Just last week we had 57 calls between our leaders and leaders of foreign countries in an attempt to discuss this issue, find ways out of it. The whole world is discussing the conflict that is ongoing right now, and we hope that we can reach an end to it very soon.
From Qatar's point of view, was it a mistake for President Trump and Israel to start this war?
It wouldn't be prudent, Omi, right now to assess or classify this war in any way. The important thing right now is to find a way out of this that protects the people of the region and provides hope in prosperity and security for all peoples.
Qatar is also home to one of the largest U.S. military bases in the region. Is there any part of your leadership questioning whether that is something you want to continue to have on your territory?
The choice of the strategic alliance with the United States was not a choice that was taken tactically. It was a choice that had to do with the regional regional security structure of this part of the world. This partnership has proved its worth many times in our history. The deterrent that is there because of this relationship and because of the strategic alliance with the United States has worked so many times in our history for our favor. And the partnership doesn't go one way. We have helped the United States a lot in burden sharing in this region, working together on a lot of not only diplomatic solutions, but also in the coalition against ISIS, for example. So this partnership is something that is part of the bedrock of Qatari foreign policy and Qatari national security policy, and it will continue. As a matter of fact, right now, the question is how can we increase our security partnerships around the world and make sure that these security partnerships address the new perception of threat in the region that was created by the current escalation.
It seems from the Iranian perspective that it is sending a signal to the world that by attacking Iran, it wants not only the US and Israel to feel the impact, it wants the region and the world to feel this impact. It seems to be working.
Let me say it very clearly. Before the war began, regional countries, in the Omani-led mediation, all of us were supporting that mediation. Qatar was supporting that mediation very, very clearly. The fact that we are now under attack by the Iranians does not help the case of the Iranians in ending this war. It just provides them with more countries that feel that they are a threat, a direct threat to the safety of their people, and it reduces the likelihood of these countries playing a positive role. Right now, because we are under attack, because we are dealing with missile threats and alerts every day on our phones, our focus is not on finding a peaceful resolution out of this. Our focus is on defending our country. So if anybody in the Iranian side was strategizing that by doing this they will push us more towards a peaceful resolution, they are grossly mistaken. The reality of the situation is they need to stop these unprovoked attacks immediately if they have any hope in having a working relationship with their neighbors.
Iran has a new supreme leader, the son of the former supreme leader, Majed Al Ansari. He's not spoken publicly yet. What is Qatar's message to him?
Our message to all the Iranian leadership: you have chosen to drag the region into this war in the hopes of finding an end to it. You are doing the complete opposite of that. Our message is we will live next to you, like we have lived next to you for millennia. We are not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. We have to find a way of living together in peace, and threatening us is in no way helping your case.
Are you afraid we're in the early days of potentially a forever war in the region?
I remember a meeting in 2023, even before the 7th of October, and we were saying that the region was going towards escalation. and that we needed together, working with our international partners, to find ways to diffuse a lot of the issues that were taking place. Well, then the attacks of 7th of October happens, and the ensuing war in Gaza took place, and we warned again that left unchecked, this will mean regional spillover. And then we saw Syria in play, we saw Lebanon, and we saw the situation, across the region, and we said, listen, this is not the end of it. We are going, we're driving off a cliff in the region. We need to stop this right now. And instead of that happening, we see now, of course, a regional war that is engulfing a lot of countries in the region. And there is still a chance for peace. There is still a chance to get back from the brink. But we need to work collectively to end escalation, get back to the negotiation table, and find ways for all the peoples in the region to have a sense of security that has been missing in our region for a really long time, that will help build the generation and raise a generation that has hope in a future, has hope in prosperity, and not only look into conflict and revenge as the outlying drivers of throughout their lives.
Last question. Finally, looking forward, what can be done to bring this war to an end? Can this war come to an end?
Well, the first thing that needs to happen, Iranian missiles need to stop attacking countries that are not part of this war. Containing this war to the original parameters is the first step towards finding a peaceful resolution. And next, we have to find a way of getting back to the negotiation table, finding a way for diplomacy to be reignited again between the parties, and finding a way for all the parties to realize that the effects of this war are going to be felt in all the capitals, whether they are associated with this war or not. It's going to be felt by all the people, whether they are the peoples of countries who are involved in this war or not.
Dr. Majed, thank you for talking to CBS News.
Thank you for having me.